Isekai.
Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage, Chapter 211, Cool Moon. Yimai's waist was soft and her movements was very seductive, her eyes were full of energy, and if one look, it seems that they did not consist of others but become a butterfly, fluttering around and making another heart itch. Thinking that the butterfly had stopped on one's hands, it flew away as one was looking at the colorful wings. The female guests were all watching, unable to turn their eyes away. What more the males? Males always like good-looking playthings, and their eyeballs were about to be pasted on Yimai. Yi Furan and Yi Maokai gradually revealed a smug look. It was an ability to give birth such a pair of outstanding children that could make all the males rush over like ducks. This was an ability that not many people would have. Luanner's hatred increased as she watched, and she became so angry that she gritted her teeth. However, Shen Miao watched coldly at Yimai's dance as her thoughts flew to her last lifetime. When she first saw Mai Furan, it was when she returned from Qian country to Ding capital. She had only heard that there was an additional concubine in the palace, but everyone called her Mai Furan and her position was not mentioned. This was somewhat uncommon. Hearing that Fu Ziyu favored this Mai Furan a lot, Shen Miao's heart felt sour, but she did not think much about it as Fu Ziyu had a cold temperament, so no matter how someone was favored, it would not be excessive. Afterwards she went over to the imperial study to look for Fu Ziyu and wanted to talk to Fu Ziyu about serious matters, but saw Mai Furan throwing Fu Ziyu's paperweight. Mai Furan claimed to be ill on the day she returned to the palace, and this was the first encounter. Shen Miao saw that the female was beautiful and lively, and each move and smile was like a painting. However, she was arrogant and wild and dared to throw a temper in the imperial study. Shen Miao thought that Fu Ziyu would be furious, and indeed Fu Ziyu had an angry appearance, and Mai Furan turned around and left. At that time Shen Miao was thinking that she was such a strong female to actually dared to speak to Fu Ziyu like that. With this kind of temple, how long could she live in the inner palace? At that time she was busy inquiring Wan Yu's and Fu Ming's situation and did not pay much attention. She only felt that this female was very beautiful and was an extremely arrogant person. But even though Fu Ziyu was that angry, on the second morning, Shen Miao saw Fu Ziyu accompanying Mai Furan for a walk in the imperial gardens, speaking in a very pampering manner that it made another look stunned. She had never seen this side of Fu Ziyu, as Fu Ziyu was not such a good-tempered person. Fu Ziyu's warmth was only on the surface, in front of those advisors, and he would not be very patient with females. However, Mai Furan was able to make Fu Ziyu be in all smiles after making him that angry. At that time Shen Miao felt that this female was not only beauty and arrogant, she was extremely dangerous, as she could play a person on her palms. No matter if it was a male or not, she was able to capture Fu Ziyu's heart. Sure enough, as the period upon Shen Miao's return grew, she gradually discovered that this Mai Furan was rather scary. She looked arrogant and rude and did not control her temper, but had managed it to a safe level. Fu Ziyu would only find that she had an honest temperament and difficult to tame, and thus became even more fascinated. When she was in front of Shen Miao, Mai Furan was rude, sarcastic, and would oppose her. Because of Fu Chen, she would repeatedly provoke Fu Ziyu's relationship with Fu Ming. It was unfortunate that Fu Ziyu's heart had always been forever biased. What was Mai Furan's true face? Shen Miao looked at the charming and affectionate female in front. In this lifetime, she had become the young lady of the Yi family, cautious yet intelligent enough to know where to move forward or retreat. She no longer showed her arrogance, but was this really her true face? After dealing with Mai Furan for a lifetime, Shen Miao knew how scary she was. She was a female that was as sly as a fox. Whatever she wanted, she would never fight for it straightforwardly but turn 9 to 18 times. At the end she gained an advantage but pretended otherwise and made bogus accusation with her victim. What did she want to do with her current action? Did she want to let Zi Jingxing be like Fu Ziyu? Fascinated by her with one look, Shen Miao sneered in her heart, but she could not help to look over at Zi Jingxing's side. However, as she looked, Her eyes met with Zi Jingxing's gaze. Zi Jingxing's eyes was all on Shen Miao and most likely did not expect that Shen Miao would suddenly look at her and paused for a bit and turn his head over, seemingly looking at something outside, concealing something. However, there was not a single look at the person who was dancing enthusiastically. Shen Miao was startled and an indescribable feeling came to her heart like a wave. She had a lot of hate for Mai Furan and naturally had a self-defeating sense of self-worth buried deep inside her mind. With regards of romance and creating the atmosphere, she was incomparable with Mai Furan, so Fu Ziyu would not hesitate to sacrifice her in the last lifetime. Zi Jingxing was 1,000 times more outstanding than Fu Ziyu, so if Yi Mai liked Zi Jingxing, Shen Miao thought that it would be a disaster. But Zi Jingxing's gaze was all on her and did not take a look at Yi Mai. This was distinctively different from Fu Ziyu. If it was Fu Ziyu, as long as Shen Miao and Mai Furan appeared in the same event, he would not give Shen Miao an additional glance. It was really different between person to person. Just like she and Yi Mai were different, Zi Jingxing and Fu Ziyu were different. As she was thinking about it, she did not notice when Yi Mai finished dancing. Upon hearing the loud applause in the hall, she then lifted her head up and saw Yi Mai standing in the middle gently smiling. There were pearls of sweat on her forehead and with the fragrant powder she had on, it was very moving and glamorous. Behind her, the painting was completed and with the sleek lines and sprinkled inked, it was a painting of a Qian, mythical animal, arriving, with the meaning of congratulating one's birthday. The painting was vivid and it was really done well. Young lady Yi is truly a talented person. The Darren with a learning school said, "The painting is so expressive and it is a fine work. The young ladies at my learning school do not have such skills. The dance is also not bad." A Furan quickly said, "Yi Furan is really fortunate. This young lady Yi is like you, not only one has an appearance of falling flowers and moon, she has a body of talent. In our Long Yi, she is really the best with such good dancing and painting skills." Yi Furan accepted it with smiles, but Luaner jealously twisted her handkerchief, with unwillingness in her eyes. Another person said, "One do not know how does your highness the prince think of this birthday painting?" Everyone looked towards Zi Jingxing and even Yi Mai turned to look at Zi Jingxing but only saw Zi Jingxing looking outside the window as he held the wine cup. One did not know what he was entrance with that he did not seem to hear the discussion. "Your highness?" Zhao Yang reminded him. Zi Jingxing recovered to his senses and asked, "What?" "Asking you how is young lady Yi's painting?" Zhao Yang said. Everyone was somewhat awkward as one was doing their best to showcase their talents and prepare a painting, but Prince Rui's mind was not here and did not take notice at all. This was undoubtedly too disrespectful to Yi Mai. Zi Jingxing heard it and took a glance at the painting and said with a slight hook on his lips, "Not bad." The perfunctory attitude could be seen at all levels of the hall. Yi Mai's smile was somewhat stiff, however when Shen Miao saw it, a trace of smile flashed in her eyes. For Zi Jingxing kind of person, even if he could be lost in thoughts in such an occasion, he was either one who was very focused and most likely did it deliberately. Although she did not know why he deliberately put Yi Mai in a difficult situation, Shen Miao felt slightly happy with his action. However, her smile was caught by Yi Mai. Yi Mai stared at her and suddenly smiled. Speaking of which, when one was staying the residence of Prince Rui, one had heard that Wang Pei is also extremely talented. Suddenly the topic was turned towards Shen Miao. One had only heard that Wang Pei's archery is very good and not heard of others. Since it is the prince's birthday today, Wang Pei would not help to better the atmosphere and let us have an eye-opener since this young female have admired Wang Pei for a long time. She said somewhat uncomfortably. No matter who saw it, they would only feel that Yi Mai had heard about the rumors and admired her and thus wanted to see it for herself. But Shen Miao was a daughter from a military lineage family. It was one thing to be good in archery, but no one had seen her dancing before. If she did it, perhaps she would make a fool of herself, but if she did not agree to it, it would seem to confirm that she was coarse by nature. Everyone looked at Shen Miao. Shen Miao smiled gently. "I am the Wang Pei of the residence of Prince Rui. How could one play instruments and sing like a songstress and let others watch? In an instant, there was no sound in the hall and Yimai's face turned red. Originally, dancing in front of officials was considered detrimental to one's face, but because Yimai was the young lady of the Yi family and was talented and good-looking, everyone had ignored this point. However, it was not subtle for Shen Miao to speak about it this loudly. Yi Furan's and Yi Maokai's faces turned ugly. Yi Furan wanted to speak, but if she opened her mouth, wouldn't she be going with Shen Miao's flow, saying that Yimai's actions were virtues of a songstress? Lu Furan and Lu Wanner, however, was delighted with the chaos. It was the best for them to watch as Shen Miao and Yimai fought. Zi Jingxing smiled as he watched everything, but he did not seem to think that there was anything wrong to it and did not intervene and just watch on with folded arms. Lu Tan felt that Shen Miao was somewhat focused on Yimai, but she felt vaguely happy in her heart. This was originally Zi Jingxing's birthday, but this Yimai did a whatever dance here and superseded the lead. Moreover, she even took the initiative to get Shen Miao to sing and dance. On what basis should one ask others to be like her? Ji Furan looked at Shen Miao and her heart became anxious. All the court's officials were invited to Zi Jingxing's birthday, and for Shen Miao to make the atmosphere so stuffy, others would blame the residents of Prince Ruai for being rude, and the damage was towards the entire residence. They would also say that Shen Miao was jealous and was calculative to the young lady of the Yi family. Yimai stood rooted on the same spot and frowned slightly, making everyone pity. A beauty like that was forced into such a situation would always make one feel unbearable. The males in the hall were incensed by injustice and wanted to flaunt themselves as righteous, to speak for Yimai and be the hero to save the beauty. Shen Miao swept a glance at the entire hall of people and saw everyone's expression. Yimai had such a skill like this. She did not need to speak of what she wanted. Her brows wrinkled and one sigh would make everyone around her picking up axes and calling for blood for her. One feared that her rejection of Yimai today would cause the entire Long Yi to stand at Yimai's side the next day. How could one let Yimai's wish come true? She stood up and smiled towards everyone's flabbergasted eyes. However, it is rare to see young Lady Yi's kindness, so one will undertake this difficult task as best as one can. It is fortunate that one had learned a piece some days back and will play it for young Lady Yi to listen. Why play for young Lady Yi to listen? Lu Furan smiled. Should it not be to congratulate Prince Ruai's birthday? This piece is very sad. Shen Miao said lightly. It is not like festive pieces and would not be suitable to congratulate one's birthday. It is just that one felt it was good a few days back and learned it. Since young Lady Yi admire me, one have to naturally share good things, isn't it right? She smiled and looked towards Yimai. Yimai smiled softly. It is naturally so. These two people exchanged words, as if they could not see the invisible swords. Yimai was charming and Shen Miao was dignified. Each had their own beauty, and for a moment in time, one could not differentiate who was better. Shen Miao picked up her sleeves and walked to the middle as Yimai withdrew. Jings quickly found a chair over and Shen Miao raised her eyes. Bring the kin over. Gu Yuo only came out after a long time. There is only one Jiaoweiqin in the entire Baijiaolu. Furan. Baijiaolu's sounds were unique, and Gu Yu knew clearly in her heart, as she had followed Shen Miao for so many years and had not seen Shen Miao playing a kin before. She secretly hated that young Lady Yi for having evil intentions and insistence in making Shen Miao doing such an elegant thing and making things difficult for Shen Miao. If one face was lost, especially in this strange and foreign country, no one would give Shen Miao out because of the Shen family. Most of the people here had ill intentions and could not wait to throw stones when one was down. In particularly, after Yimai's unique dance, whatever Shen Miao did would be dwarfed. It is of no problems, just bring it over, Shen Miao said. When the surrounding Furans and young lady heard it, they started whispering. Isn't it said that one was coarse, So why play the Qian? It should be that one want to compete with the young lady of Yi family. She is sure eager to win. Oh, it is unfortunate for the residents of Prince Ruai as one would have to lose face today. The people of Mingji really cannot be brought out to public. They don't even know how much they weigh. They said it softly but they were unable to conceal their taunting eyes. Lu Dan was however full of confidence. Although she had never heard Shen Miao playing the Qian before, but she inexplicably felt that Shen Miao could do everything, and since she said it, she could do it. Ji Yushu whispered quietly to Zhao Yang, "Saozi really know how to play the Qian?" The information that Fing's Yan pawnshop investigate was that there was not even a Qian teacher that was invited over for her. Self-taught, it is just too powerful. Zhao Yang shrugged his shoulders. "I am also not clear. Let's wait and see." Pei Lang was also among the guests in the banquet and knew that there were Qian classes in Guangwentang, but Shen Miao did not choose it. Pei Lang had also heard of the teacher there complaining before that Shen Miao was unable to even identify the strings on the Qian. Thus upon seeing that Shen Miao had gladly accepted it, he did not believe it and could not help but take a look at Xi Jingxing. He was thinking that for Shen Miao to be this competitive, it was all because of Xi Jingxing. Xi Jingxing slightly frowned and the hand that was holding the wine cup slightly tightened. Shen Miao washed her hands and said faintly, "This piece of music is called Blood Call. It is a song that a young princess made while pouring all her despair and grief, hoping that it would change her imperial father's mind not to force her into a marriage alliance with an enemy leader who was 50 years older than her and being unsure of her future." Her voice was faint like the moonlight. "Even after the interest in my Furen's dance, it made one calm down," and as if they went along with her words and entered the story, she then started to pluck the Qian strings. The Jiaoweiqian's sounds were heavy and were not as clear as ordinary Qian, and it was more difficult for one to move another's heart when plucked, but her every move was long and delicate. It was distinctively an indescribable sound, but it made another excited. From the first plucking sound, the entire hall fell silent. She slowly opened her mouth and sang. Kangjiang River flows from the west, the clouds and mountains on the reflection of the water, the terrace that is built on mountain. As the mountain and water connects, the terrace resisted, as arranged by heavens. As one supports the moon's travels, one walks scattered like the stars, being alone eating cold food and recalling the autumn scenery of one's hometown. One worries when one's head is on the pillow, anxious when on horseback, only resting after one's death. Her voice was amiable normally, as clear as water, but at this moment there was a painful emotion in it that made one's eyes turn red upon listening and one's heart sour. With her lyrics and her tune, it seemed that everyone could see that young princess that was fair and adorable but was forced to wear the phoenix crown and sitting bittering in a corner of the palace. That palace hall had a serious and heavy atmosphere. She was at a young and innocent age but had to encounter a difficult fate. She got up the carriage, bid goodbye to the empress. The emperor was unfeeling and sacrificed one's daughter for his thousands of autumns. As a princess of an imperial family, what was ushered in was a marriage that she could not make the decision for. The journey from the capital was far away, and as she parted the curtains, she could see the flying eagles in the skies, the fishes swimming in the water. She also saw the wind, the rain and the clouds, and every single thing had more freedom than her. In the close but far location, there was no shortage of flowers fluttering through one's hands for many moons as one's eyes filled with tears of farewell. The words of care and goodbyes were just spoken and made one reluctant to part. Shen Miao's tears slowly flowed down. She has a delicate and dignified appearance with complexion as fair as jade. Under the lanterns, her hands continued to pluck the Qian, but one could see the tear stains. It was clearly a cold look but seemed to have endless suffering that one could not speak of, could not sing out. The pair of eyes was obviously clear but became dark with pain, but it made one look like a flower twitching in the rain, making one could not help but want to care for. Everyone in the packed hall was silent as she sang, and their eyes became red. They only felt that their heart was blocked and there was no more joy from when Yi Mai danced. However, the strings suddenly changed and the Qian sounds were played hastily and her lyrics became sharp. The Erd monarch, the crafty and covetous officials, When the river opens, it is the root of the disaster. Laws are excessive, punishments are heavy, creating resentment among the commoner. Have once seen people eating people. Thieves become officials, officials become thieves. Cheats are passed on as the virtuous, the mourners are pitiful. It would be better to see the collapse of this building. When it becomes rubbles, the rise and fall would only be 50 years before one would look at it with cold eyes. Her brows and eyes were cold and her voice was bleeding blood, like she was sobbing and complaining, like she was talking about past experience. Then there was a murderous gaze in her eyes and it was filled with resentment, and each traces of it were all directed towards the seated Yi Mai and brother. At the end, Wan Yu was unable to play the complete song for Fu Ziyu Yi, and the remaining part was filled by Shen Miao. In the cold palace, she had played it on a broken kin. The first part was Wan Yu's plead and the latter half was her complaint. There were ears at night but those people could not hear. Now here, are you listening to the song? Did you feel a sense of familiarity? Was there a chilling sense? Zi Jingxing put down the cup and his gaze was as sharp as a knife. Yi Mai felt somewhat chilly. What did these lyrics had to do with her? But why did it seem that it was directed to her that it made her heart feel restless? When the singing ended, the faint sound of the ken was not resting when Shen Miao suddenly stopped and lifted her hands. There were no words spoken in the hall for a long time. Who dared to say that True Wang Pei was rude and hoarse and did not know kin and chess? It was a skill to be able to play till the entire hall of people fall into silence. However, one could even make one's heart feel heavy, as if after listening to that sad story, they would not be able to feel happy at all. Shen Miao spoke amiably. This piece is not festive and should not be played in a birthday celebration, but young Lady Yi wanted to listen, so one had played it especially for young Lady Yi. She looked at Yi Mai. Is young Lady Yi satisfied? Everyone's gaze landed on Yi Mai in an instant. Yi Mai was somewhat restless. The words seemed to indicate that at her that forced Shen Miao to play the kin and make a fool of herself, but she had to admit that Shen Miao was not coarse at all. It was not difficult to play the kin, but what was difficult was moving another's heart. Her kin was able to move everyone in the hall, and if one were to go back on one conscience and say that it was not good, one would be at a disadvantage. Wang Pei is indeed an unparalleled talent like the rumors. Yi Mai smiled. This piece Blood Call is admirable, but she was somewhat doubtful. Why is there different atmosphere between the first and latter half of the Blood Call? The music score of latter half seemed to changed. The latter half was fierce, resentful and desperate, just like the last cry of a beast, and it made one shudder. Shen Miao moved her fingers. Of course the front and the latter were different. The front portion was created by Wan Yu to move Fu Ziyu Yi, but the latter portion was arranged when she lost her children and was thrown into the cold palace by the poisonous bear. Shen Miao smiled gently. The first half was the feelings of the little princess that was forced to marry, but the latter half was from the little princess's birth mother, the despair and anger of that empress after losing her daughter. So it was as such. Everyone then understood, and someone asked, "This piece is really touching. How does Wang Pei know of this story?" It really makes one sigh upon hearing it. It is only sung by a traveling storyteller. Shen Miao smiled. It is just that one felt that this story was too serious that one remembered it. Oh? A young lady could not help but ask, since it is a story, then what is the ending of it? What kind of ending did that princess have? Shen Miao said blandly. The ending of the story is that princess died during the journey of the alliance marriage, and that empress was banished to the cold palace and soon given the white silk and died. Everyone sighed and said that this story was just too tragic. Yi Furan was however somewhat upset. Shen Miao's song was actually comparable to Yi Mai's. Yi Mai was charming and her dance enticed everyone, but Shen Miao only sat down quietly and played the kin and sang a couple of sentences and was able to attract everyone's attention. Moreover, she also told a story and snatched Yi Mai's limelight. Like this, Yi Mai's water-sleeved dance became inferior. Everyone's gazes towards Shen Miao slightly changed. Females were always emotional, so when Shen Miao spoke of such a pitiful story and the kin was able to hold one's heart, everyone felt much closer to Shen Miao. Yi Furan said, It is really sorrowful on such a festive day." Shan Miao smiled too. One had disturbed everyone's interest. "It is my fault." She walked to the middle area and picked up a wine bowl. Wine bowls were used by males to drink, and she poured herself a bowl full of yellow wine which reflects her youthful face. "One will toast a bowl for apologies." She knocked her head back to drink it all down. Zi Jingxing's gaze became serious and he seemed to get up but had no choice but to sit back down. Shan Miao's chin was lifted as she drank the bowl of wine with urgency. There were some wine that was not swallowed in time that dribbled down her neck and damped a small part of her clothes. However, it was a pretty sight that made one look charming. Her eyelashes were long and her expression was clear. Finishing, she placed the wine bowl on the table and elegantly and proudly said, "One had bottoms up first." She had drunk it cleanly and those fellow officials' heroic spirits were lit and they all picked up the wine bowl and laughed. "Wang Pei is good at drinking. One will toast to you." Shan Miao smiled slightly and this smile looked somewhat unfamiliar with others. She glanced at Yi Mai and brother and they were staring at her. She then looked outside. This bowl of wine seemed to have ignited the atmosphere of the Baijiaolu. As the mood was at the peak, Shan Miao stood up and said to the female guest, "One will go out for some fresh air." She then left alone. Ba Zhao and Hua Xiang were waiting for her outside to head over to the pavilion not far away. Shan Miao's throat felt hot as the wine was served was strongest, but she did not feel drunk. It was just that the corners of her eyes were hot and teary. That cup of wine was for her little daughter, the little princess that died on the journey for a marriage alliance. Those people who just listened felt miserable. Then how about her? How about Wan Yu? When she was alone with her entourage, did she felt desperate, like her body was in fire but could not do anything about it? She thought that she could hold it in, but at the end she could not do it. As a mother, she would rather die 1,000 times than be willing to let Wan Yu and Fu Ming suffer those hardships. As she took each step, the moonlight was as cool as water, but it could not blow away the overgrown feelings in her heart. Drinks and a food basket was already placed in the pavilion as Ba Zhao said, "Furen, the fireworks have been bought." Shan Miao complied. "Speak of it then." After speaking, one would be relieved. No matter how Zi Jingxing looked at her in the future or what she had to face, she could bear it all. There was nothing worse than her previous lifetime. She had endured all those things of not being understood, being isolated and be looked upon like an animal, so what would it still matter? Just as she was thinking, she heard a voice behind her, "You are waiting for the prince?" Upon turning around, she saw Pei Lang. Pei Lang took a glance at the things that was arranged on the pavilion and smiled. "One did not expect that you will do such things." Shan Miao asked him, "Why are you out?" "One is not used to that kind of place." Pei Lang said, "Moreover, one cannot drink, so one planned to return first." "Did not expect to see you preparing these things," he said. "Planning to reconcile with the prince?" Shan Miao nodded her head. "Previously one used to think that most likely there would not be anyone that you will give in to, but now one know that it is the prince." Pei Lang's smile had an unnoticeable hint of sadness, but he looked back at Shan Miao. It became light-hearted, even though it is somewhat surprising. It is not unexpected. Shan Miao smiled gently. At the same time, Zi Jingxing, who was in Baijiaolu, looked at Tai Yi and was about to get up to leave. Ji Yushu grabbed onto his clothes. "Today you are the star, so how could one escape first?" "Let go." Zi Jingxing glared at him. Ji Yushu obediently let go. "What are you going to do?" "So mysterious," Jiao Yang said. "Why do you care what he is doing?" Zi Jingxing took a slight glance and saw that Yi Furen was speaking to Yi Mai and brother, and his gaze could not help but darken. Shan Miao's attitude towards this pair of siblings was just too strange. It seemed to have gone beyond her reasoning, and it was like she had become another person. The Yi siblings seemed not to be simple, even though Mo Yun army was unable to find anything wrong. But because of that, it was even more suspicious. He suddenly remembered the letter that Tai Yi stuffed into his sleeves. That was a letter that Shan Miao wrote to him. It did not mention about apologizing and only said that she had something to say to him at a pavilion near the Baijiaolu, where the birthday celebration was held. With regards to Shan Miao, it was a big concession to do away with everyone and meet him. No matter it was an apology or not, Zi Jingxing appeared to be tough outwardly but was very weak in essence towards Shen Miao, thus he was easily coaxed. The cold expression was just put up as his heart was actually happy. He had thought that come knocking for 3 days and let her be. And indeed she became sensible. However, she was reluctant to let her be upset, but just now in the hall, she wore overly gorgeous, and when she was playing the Qian, those admiring eyes that those males gave her made him somewhat unhappy. In the pavilion, Pei Lang had finished chatting with Shen Miao and was planning to leave. Just as he stepped down, he bumped onto a young boy and Pei Lang fell. Ba Zhao and Hua Xiang was bringing Zi Jingxing over at the other end. Shen Miao was thinking that in such a late night, could it be that a young master of some official family in Baijiaolu that ran out to play? Upon hearing Pei Lang low groan, it seemed that it was not a light fall and intended to go over to take a look. Upon walking over to Pei Lang, one saw that the child was squatting down and one did not know why, but Pei Lang was coaxing him. Shen Miao crocheted down and was about to speak when the child raised his head up violently with a fierce gaze. Shen Miao was caught off guard when she saw a silver light heading towards her. It was too late to hide, but she saw Pei Lang grabbing her and turning her over so that he could protect her. Afterwards there was a groan of pain. However, he did not let go and protected Shen Miao closely. The child did not care and kicked Pei Lang away and turned the knife over to stab Shen Miao. Sound came from afar and the child paused his action before looking at Shen Miao and, like Pei Lang, stabbed the knife into the abdomen. Zi Jingxing was walking over this side with Hua Xiang and Ba Zhao. Hua Xiang said, "Furen have been waiting for you for a while." Fearing that you are still angry, she had been waiting patiently. When you see Furen, one must be considerate of her. Zi Jingxing was expressionless, but there was a trace of a smile in his eyes. After bypassing the small alleys, one saw the pavilion, but before they reached nearer, there was a bloody scent. Zi Jingxing paused in his steps. Ba Zhao and Hua Xiang was also startled. The moonlight was as bright as a lantern that shone everything on the ground clearly. It should have been a breezy and elegant scene with the moon and wind, but at this moment it made one feel a cold feeling from the bottom of their hearts. Large patches of blood, and there were familiar people.